What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. It is Thursday. Time for the week 4 predictions. We're heading into an interesting spot in the Call of Duty League season. We're getting close to the midway point with Major 2 coming up, and a lot of teams right now are on the bubble for qualifying for winners or for losers bracket at this event. A couple of teams are in comfortable spots. So we have a couple premium matchups this week, especially the Toronto and OPTIC one at the end of the day on Sunday. But we have a couple of other spicy ones. Let's dive in. I'll give you my predictions for the matches this week. All right, so last week was a little bit of a mixed bag. We whiffed on a couple of ones, but that's okay. We can have one bad week. Scrolling down, we take a look at this week. It's a week where OPTIC is playing twice. FaZe is playing twice. We actually have Toronto playing once. We'll get to that in a minute, and New York playing once. So, mixed bag for the top 4 teams. And honestly, there's only one matchup between them, which is the Toronto OPTIC one on Sunday. But there are a couple of mid-pack matchups that are really interesting this week. So let's dive in. We're going to start with OPTIC versus Boston. Boston has been very hot and cold during the stage. OPTIC's been decently in cruise control, but they haven't had the hardest of schedules that is coming up actually after this Boston match, which they play Toronto and New York. I think during this split, this OPTIC team has obviously continued to excel in a respawn, especially in control, but I think the S&Ds are an area of opportunity they still need to work on. Boston, I think thinking about the map set in this series and where it's going to go, I just don't favor them. I think they could steal one. I could see OPTIC maybe trying a few different things in this series, but I think OPTIC's going to win this one pretty comfortably in most of the maps and get this done in 4. All right, next up, we have the Los Angeles Thieves versus Atlanta FaZe. And for FaZe, coming up a big victory against Toronto on Sunday. Thieves also coming up a pretty gritty Game 5 win, but the tough thing for Thieves is with their sort of tiny map pool, it kind of lines up with what FaZe is really good at. So I just don't really see this one being a close series. I think FaZe will take this pretty comfortably 3-0. I think if you can get plus money on the under 3 maps in this one, I think that's probably a great bet, assuming that no trolling's going on with the map pool here from FaZe. So I think this one could be a quick one. And then we get our last match on Sunday, and this one's actually a pretty interesting tie here. Carolina versus LAG. I'm curious what the fans have it right now. 71-28. I actually think it's way closer than that. They haven't yet played each other this season, but Ravens are the type of team that play up and down to people. So I could see this matchup being a little bit spicy because Carolina, so far this split, haven't looked improved in search, but not as good in respawn. I think for me, it still gives me confidence to pick Carolina in this series, but I do feel like it may go the distance and Carolina will clutch a Game 5, which I have no rhyme or reason to think the LAG are going to do that. They are a team that's notorious for not finishing maps. I think Carolina get this one done, but I don't see this being a series that's done in 20 minutes if LAG kind of show up to this one. So keep your eye out here in a day on Friday. That being said, LAG gets put in the blender because after they lose this tough one versus Carolina, they got to play New York first match on Saturday, and New York are in cruise control, and I really just don't see LAG really holding a candle to them in this one. I'm just trying to think on map set. If there's any way I see LAG winning a map in this one, I don't. New York crushed the 3-0, and again, if you can get plus money on the 3-0 in this one, I would definitely take it. All right, next up we have Seattle versus the Minnesota Rocker. 2 teams not having the best of stages, and actually Seattle has a win and Minnesota does not. I don't know if that's surprising at this point in the season or not. Minnesota has had 4 really tough Game 5 losses so far this stage, and one absolute thrill smoke show by Atlanta FaZe. And then on the Seattle side, it's been a real struggle, and their only victory was a 3-0 against LAG, who I don't think are very good. So I don't really know what to think about this one because even with the victory versus LAG, Seattle's looked pretty poor in respawns. The S&Ds can be still a solid one for them. Rocker's been kind of all over the place, but S&D, they've lost quite a few of them during the stage. This goes to Game 5. I don't got confidence for Rocker to win this one. I'm going to say Rocker take this one 3-1, but this could be if this goes to Game 5, I could see Seattle winning this, but Rocker's going to have to clean this one up in the respawns to win this one. Otherwise, it could get very dicey. And 0-6 for Rocker losing to Seattle. They're already on the roster change watch, so this one could get even worse if they lose this one. The Seattle team that's missing their best player. And then next up, we have FaZe versus Boston. And just like with the Thieves matchup, a lot of overlap in map pool here. I wonder if FaZe will play Invasion. They might say, maybe not. Get a bunch of Karachis here. Get some Rios, maybe. I just don't see it for Boston. Teams that they struggle against are teams that are good at search, and Boston is not one of them. So I think FaZe takes this one comfortably and move on back-to-back 3-0s. Actually, if they win both these 3-0s, I think that would be 12 maps in a row they'd win. So we'll see if they can get that going. All right, we move on over to Sunday, and let me scroll up. You guys can see all of the matches. We have Las Vegas Legion versus the LA Thieves. So this is potentially a very big game for Thieves, who are coming off those 2 Game 5 wins. They got a bonus match against FaZe. Vegas have been in cruise control in this one, but the standings could get very interesting if Thieves find a way to get a result in this match. I'm just trying to think about map pool in this one, specifically in search, because that has been a real strong suit for Thieves so far in this. And I know 2 of those were Game 5 terminals, which we have seen Vegas plays sometimes. I'm curious what the fans have it right now. They have it as 61-38. Seems about right. Who do I trust more in a Game 5 is what I'm thinking here. Do I take the Thieves upset in this one? I think I'm going to. Another Thieves Game 5 Grilly. I don't know if it's going to be a reverse sweep type situation here, but I'll take Thieves in this one. A little bit of an upset. Let's spice it up. Let's take a little bit of spice in this one. We'll take Thieves. Miami versus Carolina. Well, Miami's been very, very, very poor this split. Probably one of the worst teams in this split. These 2 teams did play in the beginning of the season, and Miami beat Carolina. Well, that was week 1, and you know what I mean? Like, don't want to take too much stock in it. People have this as a pretty close series. Carolina, especially if they come off the LAG victory. Again, I'm playing up and playing down to people. I think that Carolina is going to get a big series from TJ, and I think they get it done in 4. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not confident about this one. Same with the LAG series of Carolina. Something with this weekend and them, I don't know. They played some decent COD so far this split to be 1-3, but they've also played OPTIC in New York, in Seattle, and lost a close one to Boston. These are very winnable matches that they got to take care of, and I might get a little bit dicey, but I think they take both wins. And then we get to the cream de creme, or I don't know how to say it. Creme de la creme, a matchups this week. Toronto versus OPTIC. The fans have it 65-35 Toronto versus OPTIC, which I think is pretty on the button here. Toronto's the better search team. OPTIC has, I think, the advantage in the respawns. And so Toronto's got some interesting map pool things to figure out. I think Toronto's going to have a better showing this week than last week. They've had now 7 days going this matchup to prepare after the shellacking from FaZe. And I think that this goes at Game 5. I have Toronto winning this. But I will say this, if this gets in anything other than 5, I see OPTIC winning a 3-0 or 3-1 here. I just think that OPTIC is in a better spot with Respawn right now, and Toronto's going to basically probably win this if they win it in Game 5, to be honest with Neslo, because I think the S&Ds are an opportunity area for them. So let's see what Toronto can do. This one will be a tight one, and I got Toronto winning it, but I can see OPTIC taking it if it goes less than Game 5. I'm not confident about these predictions this week. I'm not going to lie with y'all. This is what I chose, but I think there's a bunch of variable with some mid-pack matchups here. There are a bunch of like obvious sort of 3-0s. I think the FaZe one, 2 FaZe ones I feel pretty confident on. OPTIC Boston I feel pretty confident on. New York LAG I feel confident on, but the rest of the set is a little bit iffy, so we'll see what we get this weekend. We're going to get a lot more clarity on what the race for the bottom of winners bracket is going to look like going into this major, because it can get interesting if Vegas beat Thieves this weekend. It gets very interesting because Vegas might get a top 4 seed, and maybe one of those top 4 teams I have to play them with a lower seed, which would be a tough draw for Vegas. We'll see how things break out after the day on Sunday. All right, so let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the video. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. And as always, guys, we will see you on the next one.